Hey, what is up, guys? It is Rapmark here. So, doing my review for Ghostbusters Afterlife. So, this is the non-spoiler section. Uh, th- I did see this on Thanksgiving, so a little bit late, but no big deal. Why didn't I post it then? Thanksgiving. So, I've been busy. This is the first moment I've had a chance to actually sit down and record some stuff. So, we're going to go from here. It should be posted. Right now, it's very early in the morning Sunday. It'll probably be posted sometime Sunday night. That is the hope. And so we will go on to it from there. I'm still a little sick, so if you see me clear my throat or whatever, cough, it's because I'm still a little bit phlegmy, still a little bit sick, but doing fine. All right, so where to start on this? I loved this movie. When I first got out of it, I was emotional. I was just completely crazy about it. I know when I burst out my little impressions review that I do on my Facebook page, I gave it a 10 out of 10. Waiting a couple of days to do this probably is for the best. It does not deserve a 10 out of 10. I love this film. It did have issues, and I did not like mostly end stuff, which I'll get into more in spoilers, maybe touch upon here. But anyway, so this one takes place after the first two Ghostbusters. So the third one with Melissa McCarthy and all those others, that doesn't exist. That's wiped out. Thank God. I love those actresses. I hated that film. It was not good. This one, I feel, was a very good send off for the old crew and a fitting homage to Aegon, which I will again talk about later. Um, the opening scene was amazing. I did enjoy that. The first two acts, they were great. Like the characters, you have the kid from Stranger Things. Who is the little girl? Kind of Grace, I guess. Um, so yeah, I have no clue who that is, but anyway, good for her. She did great in this role. I loved her role. Um, the problems came with the other characters. Like, I liked the characters, like her older brother, her mom. I think they were developed. They were developed very, very well within the first two acts, and then sort of this love interest of the brother. Uh, it, I don't know how to feel about her, to be completely honest. But I don't feel it was bad. Um, my problem came with a lot of stuff in the third act. There were a lot of things that I felt weren't earned in terms of like the team that got together. Um, I also feel it was really, really rushed. Like the third act, I believe, should have had at least 20 more minutes to it, if not a half hour. And this film was already, how long was this film? This film was 125 minutes, so 2 hours and 5 minutes. Like I would almost never say that about a movie. There are many movies which you can affirm if you've seen any of my reviews that I think lasted way too long. No, this one would have been just would have been served more justice if the third act had been at least again 20 more minutes, um, maybe 30 minutes. I mean, hell, Eternals was 2 hours and a half too. So you can do it. You can do it. People will watch it. So yeah, that so most of my stuff is that the last act was very rushed and it caused a lot of problems just in terms of that. In terms of like visual effects, I I did like the visual effects. There were for I'm trying to see if because I know CGI was used, and normally I don't like it being overused, but they did use a lot of practical effects on this, which I loved, especially with the proton pack or yeah, is it proton packs? Those things were awesome. It was super fun. I did like the connection I felt with the characters. I did feel like that was legit, and of course there was a lot of emotional stuff, which I will get into again in spoilers. This and it. Do I want to mention that? I'm trying to. I'm trying to figure it out. Another thing I was not a fan of is I wish they had done more ghosts. Like, let's say that. They have, of course, Muncher, just sort of the creature that replaces Slimer from the original. And it was actually kind of a fun character. I mean, everyone would love to have Slimer back, but I mean, that for what it was decent. I do also feel so again the like I'll mm, it's debating between whether I should put this or not. But yeah, the end like there's the big baddie, and then the two sidekicks again I'll go into. So I'll say that here. Um, and that's about it. Like it was very dry when it came to actual ghosts and spirits, which I found a little disheartening. It kind of took away from it a little bit, but I can see where they were trying to go. And this was kind of a low budget movie, so I mean, I can kind of forgive it for that, but it is noticeable and it did take away some points. And as for the story, I mean, I thought the story was fine. Again, rushed toward the end. I do think it leaned too much for the nostalgia, uh, which again I will get into more in spoilers. There were parts in there where I'm just like, was it funny? Yeah. Was it necessary? No. Did it kind of take away? Like, was it kind of overplayed? Yeah. I'll let you know what that was in spoilers, but yeah, it was, and it seemed more catered for like the new like kids. Like as a kid watching like the second one in theaters, I was 4 at the time. I didn't see the first one in theaters, but I saw it afterwards. When you're a little kid and you're watching that there's kind of like some scary parts. There wasn't very many like scary parts, so I feel this was more meant for kids, or maybe just as I've grown up, I just don't scare as easily. I mean, I do love horror, so I don't know. That could just be a personal thing for me, but something I did want to at least bring up. So but yeah, they definitely had the nostalgia factor, and I just wish they didn't overplay it. And then there's a point. Again, I have to wait until spoilers to say specifically what it was, but where you feel like you feel things. Let's just say that, and that's where I was. So, but I mean, overall, I love this movie. This movie was a great movie, but it did have its flaws, which because I know there are some people who read my Facebook like impressions and then listen to this. I kind of have to explain that. So honestly, I have to give this one. I would love to give it an 8, but again, its faults bring it down too much. Uh, I have to give it a 7, guys. This is a great movie. I love this movie, and I would totally recommend it. And if you love Ghostbusters, you should see it. It does far more justice than the third horrible, horrible film did to the franchise. And it signs up for like, you know, the next generation, I guess. It hands off the torch. This was the handing of the torch, which really did it justice. And I do love a lot of stuff that they did. So once again, 7 out of 10. I wish I could score it higher, but again, the third act was just so rushed. The lack of ghosts, the positions like not earned with the team that finally gets together. It just it's a lot to not take away a few points. So I'm sorry, but other than that, it was wonderful. I absolutely love this movie. You should go see it. So that is it for non spoilers. I hope you guys enjoyed. So we'll be back in just a little bit with the spoiler section. So I will catch you then. See ya. Hey guys, it is a Repmark again. So with some spoilers. All right, so they bring Egon back. So I'm not sure who they got. Let me see if I can find this real quick. Where is Egon? So they did bring him back. I don't know who they. Aha. Yes. So they did use doubles for it because it was an actual actor who played for Ramus's likeness in the very beginning. So like he's like living alone and he dies, and it's like that right there. What wasn't the most emotional thing? I was just like, okay, like when you see that, you kind of figure they're gonna have something like that. Now, so then you go to his daughter and her 2 kids, so his grandkids. Um, she does not like him. Uh, feels like he ran out on the family. So she really hates scientists and smart, which is a problem because her daughter is really, really smart. Again, I love the like backstory. These characters feel flushed out. Like you actually kind of feel for them. And good grief, Paul Rudd, the sexiest man for this year. And boy, does he deserve it. This guy has to be a vampire, but he is so charming. He is charismatic. He's funny. Like he plays a middle school teacher who is doing summer school. So he's very smart, but again, it's a school in a small town, so he kind of does the stuff on his own while he sends the kids to watch horror movies and so forth. He is a big Ghostbusters fan. Who else do we have? So again, the older brother Trevor Spangler. He, so they get kicked out of their place, uh, and they're given Aegon's place that he owned. Um, so anyway, they have to go to the small town. He immediately tries to go for someone who works at a diner there, and it does not go as well. But he does get a job. They eventually together, I guess, which is a little strange, but it's whatever. And then Phoebe, Phoebe, yeah. Uh, so that's her daughter. She befriends Podcast, who is an absolute an absolute hoot. Like I enjoy him. He takes sort of the so I'm trying to find. There we go. All right. So, and I just totally lost my train of thought. Anyway, so Phoebe. All right. Yeah, we're talking about Phoebe. So, and then Podcast. So, he is an absolute hoot. He, oh my gosh, he takes the place of, oh, I forget what his name is. Rick Moranis' character. You know, the one who eventually suited up and, you know, did something in the second one. But yeah, so that's kind of the hole that he kind of takes place. Uh, he does know how to, like, he's constantly just, the relationship between the two is just kind of a little bit strange. Like, it's friends and it's stated as such, but to me, it felt like then that could just be because I have a dirty mind. I mean, I can totally accept that. But at the same time, like it did feel like there were some innuendos there, and the fact that he was constantly putting his mic toward her mouth. I mean, that's his thing. Like he does podcasts, and apparently, and I'll say this because this is spoilers. They bring back the old cast. Ray is his subscriber to his podcast, and it's amazing. I absolutely love it. But yes, they do bring back the old cast. They brought back Bill Murray, Peter Venkman, Dan Aykroyd, Ray, Ernie as Winston. Like, yeah. And Janine and Annie Potts as Janine, of course. Because why wouldn't you? And then Sigourney Weaver also is there as Dana Barrett. She doesn't make much of an appearance until the very end at a post-credit scene where she is shocking Peter's Peter's character uh, doing the card thing where you guess what's on the card, and yeah, apparently he shocks his students. So little looking, yeah, it's super strange, but it's a hoot. And you also have who else returns? You have Gozer. You have Gozer. You have the Keymaster and the Gatekeeper, the two Sumerian dogs. So those two are back. You can tell it's CGI. I didn't mind it as much because uh, I mean, you just kind of have to when you're dealing with like mythical stuff like that. It's super hard to create a creature now like and just do it like as in a puppet. I mean, I think it can be done, but I don't know. For me, just and it could be again, it could just be that I am a massive Ghostbusters fan. I forgave it. I forgave it, and I was willing to just go with it. Um, Gozer. So here's the problem with all those things. Like it felt like Gozer just like shows up, does one cool thing. She rips a cultist who was the one who built the tower in New York where Gozer originally tried to emerge to enslave humanity and rule the world. Um, so yeah, he created this temple, and the plan was like, we will rule this world together. And so Gozer is not male or female. And this is another thing that kind of irked me. Uh, they refer to Gozer as a she a lot. So, I mean, that's nitpicky. I mean, I don't want to come off as SJW, but it was a little bit weird. But anyway, so Gozer, it just didn't feel like had very much of a role in this. Like, again, and this comes down to the third act once again, just being so sped up. Like, it's like Gozer shows up, does a cool thing, and then just hangs out and chills for a little bit. Uh, and then it gets trapped essentially. So the farmhouse itself, Aegon made specifically to trap Gozer, and in the beginning act, it doesn't work. Like I guess there's not enough power, and yeah, so he ends up being attacked, and in the course of that struggle, he gets a fatal heart attack and dies. So that's what happens there. Um, but anyway, so the team coming together, that is, it just seems so rushed. Like podcast and Phoebe, I believe, were solid. They were completely solid. I absolutely think they deserved the role on that team. I believe Paul Rudd should have been in that, and I'm a little sorry that he wasn't. He was possessed by, I forget if it was the Keymaster or the Gatekeeper. I didn't, it would take me a while to look through that. But anyway, uh, yeah, he was far more of a side character than I thought he was going to be, which was really unfortunate. I feel he could have been much more key player. I would have loved to have seen him as such. I mean, I see what they were going for, and I just think they could have done more with him. And then the brother, like, I get it, throw him in there. But his love interest, the Lucky Domingo, uh, I don't get it. Like, why is she coming along that one seemed a little weird. So that's what I'm talking about with certain roles and things that didn't feel earned. I just felt that it felt too rushed and it wasn't really in depth. So there's that. Um, what else we got? Oh my gosh! So the marshmallows. there are there are tons of marshmallows that happen about when Paul Rudd's character Gary Gruberson, of course that's his name. Oh, what an unfortunate name. Anyway, so when he gets possessed, he you're dealing with a lot of marshmallows, and of course, like that's going to be massive nostalgia. The big marshmallow man in the first one, just like woo. But the problem is it was just played up so much, and it went some dark things. Like you're talking about marshmallow men who are being literally burned to death, melted with chocolate, ground up in a blend. Like it it went like dark humor with that really quick. But it just felt overplayed, especially toward the final fight. They made another appearance. It's just like, how'd they get there? Oh no, like it doesn't really explain how they got there, and I'm just like, I mean, I see what you're trying to do, but it was it just felt overplayed. It felt like it was relying way too much on the nostalgia factor. It was funny. Don't get me wrong. Again, I love dark humor stuff, but it felt overplayed, and I don't really feel it was necessary. I feel like it could have been like that's those sections of the movie could have been done better by by slowing down the third act and adding more to it. Um, but yeah, so yeah, the original team, she actually gets locked up. So this Muncher, there we go. We're gonna go into Muncher real quick. So it's they do capture it after a big chase, but it causes a lot of damage to the town. But man, those proton packs and the toy trap, the RV type toy trap. Oh my gosh, that was beautiful. So they do catch it. They eventually get pulled over, and she calls the number because their teacher, Mr. Gruberson, uh, shows them a YouTube video, an old YouTube of an advertisement for them. And so she reaches Ray, and he kind of explains what happens, like that they were just too good at their job. They were clearing out all the ghosts. They were going from like 3 calls a week to like one a week. And then things started going like downhill. Apparently Egon started going off the deep end. It's just like, these are just small potatoes. Armageddon's coming, and it was made out like he kind of went off the deep end, which I'm not sure how I feel. I probably need to watch it again to see like if it's just like they just kind of were done after everything started slowing down. But yeah, after they didn't listen to him about the apocalypse, he took all their equipment, cleaned them out, and left. And so they went and they split up and went their separate ways. Uh, so anyway, after that phone call, he gets the band back together and they show up for the final appearance. But anyway, so back to Muncher. In order to get the stuff, after figuring out, that Zol's going to be released, or not Zol, wow, what am I? Yeah, Zol is one of the guardian dogs. Gozer, there we go. They go to grab all the stuff. The van, obviously. Uh, Lucky Domino. That's really her name. Wow. She takes a cop car, and they take the old Ghostbusters car. The what is that? The Ecto One, I believe. Yes, the Ecto One. So glad I remembered that. Of all things to remember, I remembered that. All right. And then yeah, so he gets retrapped. But yes, so they have to go. And they realize, like, after realizing that the farm was a big trap, they realized what Egon was trying to do. Um, Eventually, they do, like, okay, so another part, they run into the ghost of Egon. At least Phoebe does. Um, and he kind of guides her through how to put the proton packs back together, all the technology, how it works. Um, and so she kind of connects to him through that. Uh, and then at some point, the mother like comes down and like discovers that even though he left, he still kept track of her life. There were pictures of her everywhere. Well, not everywhere, but there was like an area of the wall that was dedicated to pictures of her throughout her life. And so what I saw is it do is like he sacrificed everything, his friends, his family, to try to save the world because he loved his friends and his family and didn't want them to die. So that aspect seemed a little rushed as well, but I get what they were saying, so I'm kind of willing to forgive that one as well. Um, so going into the final battle, so Phoebe manages to distract Gozer, just like with terrible humor, and she's just like, "Are you a god? Are you prepared to die?" And then Podcast gets a trap, traps Zool, frees Callie, her mother, and that kind of takes away part of Gozer, because Gozer needs both of those spirits to in order to exist in this world as a corporeal being is how it's spelled out. So with one trapped, it's like this semi corporeal like spirit. Very CGI. But yeah, it was so they grab and then they run and they try to lure Gozer and the other guardian dog into this trap on the farm. And so they're trying to capture it. They wrap around with the proton packs. But then the marshmallows come up, so only Phoebe's is working. Callie tries to activate the trap. Same thing, not enough power, so it doesn't work. And then suddenly the original team arrive. Da, 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 da. And they get it around Gozer, get their proton packs around Gozer. And it's just like, yeah, Gozer was struggling. Yeah, really struggling. But eventually, like, untwines the proton streams and then flings them back. And then just as about Gozer's about to finish them off, Phoebe again gets it, and this is where the emotion hits. This is where the emotions got real. Aegon's spirit materializes, helps out, and I was immediately just teary eyed at the sight of it. Eventually, Podcast manages to kill enough of the marshmallows that they can use the proton pack. Trevor, Phoebe's brother, so he uses the proton pack to hit the capacitors, which lights the traps, opens them all up. Gozer, Zul, and the other guardian dog and every other spirit from this sort of tornado that comes out of the sky gets sucked in there. And yeah, that's the end. And then Egon like nods to his fellow Ghostbusters, hugs his daughter, and God damn it, I'm getting teary-eyed right now thinking about it. Uh, yeah, I was in tears. I was in literal tears. I mean, some people might think it's hokey. It was CGI, but it looked good. It was touching. It was emotionally manipulative, and I usually hate that, but I did not hate this. I thought it was great, and now I'm getting all emotional again. God damn it. uh, the tears are real. Okay. Let's see if I can make it through this without, without too much more tears. But yeah, it was very touching. After he hugs his daughter and fades off into the afterlife, it goes up into the sky and it does a tribute in honor of Harold Ramis, which again put me in absolute tears and my eyes are watering again. Why? It was a touching scene, okay? It was a touching scene. Come on, dry up, dry up, dry up, dry up. Anyway, and so yeah, then it's over. You have two post-credit scene, or yeah, mid-credit scene with again Peter and Dana Bartlett playing with the ESP cards and shock machine, and he gets the crap shocked out of him. It was funny. I loved it. And then a post-credit scene afterwards reveals that Winston is a very wealthy man who was the one who actually bought out the Ghostbusters properties, like the firehouse and all that, and he did it to maintain them. And afterwards, they took all the equipment and brought it back to New York. And so, yeah, that is pretty much everything. Like, again, I loved so much of this movie. I didn't love it as much as I wanted to, though. There were, ugh, I wanted to like this movie so much more. But again, I can't forgive the fact that, again, the brother, the love interest, like, it just felt like they were thrown onto the team. I don't feel the final battle was, like, as epic as it could have been. I feel like there weren't enough ghosts. Uh, and I felt like they really hammered the nostalgia, like, which is good, and in a lot of ways it was good. But there were some things, like again, like I mentioned on the marshmallow parts, it felt overplayed and not necessary. So again, 7 out of 10 for me. But nonetheless, I thought this was a great send off for the old team, a great send off for Harold Ramis, and definitely a movie I would recommend seeing. I know I kind of stumbled through this one. I wanted it to be so much more clear and concise, but I still was kind of emotional and just trying to find everything that I wanted to say about it because I had a lot to say about this. This was a good movie. I loved this movie. This was a good send off, a good sequel, way better than the 2016, which made me want to punch babies. Uh, just kidding. But again, it had its flaws, but I don't think it was a bad movie, and I would totally recommend you see it. So anyway, that is my thoughts on Ghostbusters. I hope you guys liked it. Uh, and I will see you guys on the next time for the next review or vlog, whatever comes next. So you have a good one, and I'll see ya.